The key to a good life is not about acquiring more things, but about learning to prioritize what truly matters to you. Think about the stories of a man who achieved outward success as a writer after a lifetime of perceived failures. His tombstone reads, "Don't try," which might seem paradoxical. This paradox reveals a deeper truth about how society defines success. This man embraced his perceived failures and wrote honestly about them. His success came from accepting himself, flaws and all, rather than striving for an unattainable ideal. True success might come from self-acceptance rather than chasing external validation. Our culture constantly tells us to achieve happiness through external means. We're told to buy more, own more, and be more to find a better life. However, this constant pursuit of positive experiences can lead to more negative experiences. The more we chase something, the more we become aware of its absence in our lives. This leads to feelings of dissatisfaction. The more they fixate on getting rich, the poorer and more unworthy they may feel. This is because their focus is on what they lack rather than what they have. The more we crave love and happiness, the lonelier and more afraid we might become, regardless of who surrounds us. Chasing external validation and achievements can lead to a vicious cycle of dissatisfaction. Our culture's obsession with exceptionalism, fueled by technology and media, sets unrealistic expectations, leading to feelings of inadequacy. We are constantly exposed to extraordinary individuals and achievements, which creates a distorted perception of what is normal. For instance, young men face immense pressure from unrealistic portrayals of masculinity in media. These portrayals depict men as effortlessly successful, physically imposing, and perpetually confident, leading to feelings of insecurity and inadequacy. Suffering is an inevitable part of life. The goal is not to avoid negative experiences altogether, but to understand that they can be valuable opportunities for growth. Emotional pain, while unpleasant, can teach us valuable lessons and help us avoid repeating past mistakes. These experiences shape our understanding of ourselves and the world. Instead of constantly asking ourselves, "What do I want to enjoy?" perhaps we should ask, "What pain am I willing to sustain?" This shift in perspective acknowledges that achieving anything worthwhile in life requires embracing certain struggles and discomforts. Achieving a great physique requires consistent effort, discipline, and a willingness to push through physical discomfort. Starting a business involves navigating risks, uncertainty, and potential failures. Finding a fulfilling relationship requires weathering rejections and putting ourselves out there. Society presents certain values as universally desirable, such as material success, always being right, and maintaining a positive outlook. However, these values can lead to unsolvable problems and create a disconnect from reality. The relentless pursuit of material wealth leads to a never-ending cycle of wanting more, regardless of how much one possesses. This yearning for more can prevent us from appreciating what we have and lead to feelings of emptiness. Always needing to be right can be detrimental to personal growth. When we become overly attached to our opinions and refuse to acknowledge other perspectives, we close ourselves off to learning opportunities. The need to be right hinders meaningful conversations, understanding different points of view, and personal growth. While maintaining a positive outlook is generally encouraged, forcing ourselves to stay positive all the time can be a form of denial. Negative emotions are a natural part of the human experience. Suppressing them can lead to more profound and prolonged emotional distress. Acknowledging and processing negative emotions allows us to learn from our experiences, develop coping mechanisms, and build resilience. Consider Pete Best, the original drummer for the Beatles, who was replaced just before the band achieved global fame. While this was undoubtedly painful, he eventually found greater happiness outside the band, prioritizing family and personal fulfillment over fame and fortune. What society considers success may not align with an individual's values. Redefining success based on personal fulfillment can lead to a more fulfilling life. Another example of redefining success can be found in the artistic journey of an artist, who, despite achieving immense fame and wealth early in his career, continued to evolve his style and experiment throughout his life. He did not let success stifle his creativity. His enduring success stemmed from his commitment to honest expression, rather than chasing external validation or adhering to conventional norms. True success often lies in pursuing what is personally meaningful and fulfilling, rather than conforming to external expectations. Learning to say no and setting boundaries are crucial skills for maintaining healthy relationships. It's easy to fall into people-pleasing and neglecting our own needs to avoid conflict or gain approval. Constantly saying yes to everything can lead to resentment, burnout, and a loss of self-respect. Setting boundaries means communicating our limits and being willing to say no to requests that infringe upon our well-being or values. Saying no is about prioritizing our needs and ensuring that we are not sacrificing our well-being for others. It's also essential to avoid falling into the trap of victimhood and the savior mentality. These patterns often coexist in unhealthy relationships, creating a dynamic where one person constantly feels helpless and the other feels obligated to fix their partner's problems. Victims tend to blame others for their circumstances and avoid taking responsibility for their lives. They seek external validation and rely on others to make them happy. Savers, on the other hand, derive a sense of self-worth from rescuing others and often attract partners who perpetuate their need to be needed. This dynamic can be detrimental to both individuals involved, as it prevents genuine growth and creates a codependent relationship. Overcoming the victim mentality requires taking ownership of our choices and focusing on what we can control. Instead of blaming external factors or other people for our problems, we need to shift our focus to finding solutions and empowering ourselves to make positive changes. This might involve setting healthier boundaries, seeking therapy, or developing coping mechanisms. Breaking free from the savior complex involves recognizing that we are not responsible for other people's happiness or well-being. It's essential to encourage loved ones to take responsibility for their choices and support them in finding their solutions. This does not mean we cannot offer help or support, but it's crucial to do so in a way that empowers rather than enables. We often get caught up in seeking happiness through external means, chasing achievements, material possessions, or validation. True happiness comes from within. Instead of asking, "What do I need to be happy?" you have to ask yourself, "What pain am I willing to endure?" This shift in perspective highlights that achieving anything worthwhile involves embracing challenges and discomfort. Whether it's building a successful business, mastering a new skill, or nurturing a relationship, the journey will inevitably involve setbacks, failures, and moments of doubt. Embracing the struggles inherent in pursuing our goals allows us to develop resilience, grow as individuals, and ultimately experience a deeper sense of satisfaction. It's not about seeking out pain for the sake of pain, but about recognizing that growth and fulfillment often come from overcoming challenges. The willingness to endure discomfort and persevere through difficult times distinguishes those who achieve lasting happiness from those who chase fleeting pleasures. By choosing our struggles wisely and committing to the process, we develop a sense of purpose and meaning that transcends the pursuit of superficial happiness. This might involve making difficult choices, such as ending an unhealthy relationship, leaving a secure but unfulfilling job, or moving away from our comfort zone to pursue a passion. While these decisions may involve short-term pain or uncertainty, they often lead to long-term growth and a deeper sense of fulfillment. Choosing your struggles does not mean seeking out suffering. It means deciding what is important enough to you that you are willing to face the challenges and overcome the obstacles that inevitably arise on the path to achieving it. Take a moment to reflect on what you've heard so far. What values or beliefs might be holding you back from experiencing genuine happiness? What pain are you willing to sustain to create a more meaningful life? We've discussed the importance of questioning societal expectations, embracing our imperfections, and choosing our struggles wisely. Let's delve deeper into the idea of self-awareness and how it plays a crucial role in shaping our values and choices. Our brains are incredibly efficient at creating meaning, even when there is none. This tendency to find patterns and create narratives can be helpful and harmful. It allows us to learn from experiences, make predictions, and navigate the world. However, it can also lead us to believe in things that are not true, cling to harmful beliefs, and justify our actions even when they are detrimental to ourselves or others. Consider someone who believes they are unlucky in love. This belief might stem from a series of failed relationships, leading them to conclude they are flawed or destined to be alone. This belief can influence their behavior, causing them to sabotage future relationships or avoid putting themselves out there. This belief, while it might feel true, is based on a limited perspective. It ignores the countless other factors that contribute to relationship success or failure, such as compatibility, communication skills, emotional maturity, and timing. To challenge these limiting beliefs, we need to become more aware of how our minds work and how our past experiences shape our perceptions. This involves questioning our assumptions, examining the evidence for our beliefs, and considering alternative perspectives. It also requires being willing to be wrong and to update our beliefs as we gather new information. Our beliefs are not facts, they are interpretations of our experiences, and these interpretations can be flawed or biased. By developing self-awareness, we can identify and challenge the beliefs holding us back and create a more accurate and empowering view of ourselves and the world. A powerful tool for developing self-awareness is to regularly question our thoughts and emotions. When we experience a strong emotional reaction, such as anger, sadness, or anxiety, it's helpful to pause and ask ourselves, what triggered this emotion? What thoughts are running through my mind right now? Are these thoughts based on facts or assumptions? Is there another way to interpret this situation? What is this emotion trying to tell me? How can I respond to this emotion healthily and constructively? By asking these questions, we can untangle the thoughts, emotions, and behaviors that shape our lives. This process of self-reflection allows us to gain a deeper understanding of ourselves, identify our triggers, and develop healthier coping mechanisms. Let's look at a real-life example of how questioning our beliefs can lead to a more empowering perspective. Let's say you're struggling with procrastination. You have a big project due, but you keep putting it off, feeling overwhelmed and anxious. You might tell yourself, I'm lazy, or I'm not good at managing my time. These beliefs can create a sense of helplessness and make it even harder to get started. If you dig deeper and question these beliefs, you might discover that the root of your procrastination lies in a fear of failure. You might be afraid of not meeting expectations, of being judged, or of disappointing yourself or others. This fear leads to avoidance and procrastination. By recognizing this underlying fear, you can start to address it directly. This might involve breaking down the project into smaller, more manageable tasks, seeking support from a friend, or practicing self-compassion. Our initial interpretations of our experiences are not always accurate. By questioning our beliefs, we can gain a deeper understanding of ourselves and develop more effective strategies for overcoming challenges. We've explored the importance of choosing our values wisely, recognizing the role of suffering in personal growth, and developing self-awareness to challenge limiting beliefs. Let's shift our focus to the concept of responsibility and how it empowers us to create a better life. Taking responsibility for our lives does not mean blaming ourselves for everything that goes wrong. It means acknowledging that we have the power to choose our responses to events, shape our values, and create a life that aligns with our goals. It's easy to fall into blaming external factors or other people for our circumstances. We might say things like, my boss is making my life miserable, or my partner doesn't understand me, or if only I had more money, I would be happy. These statements might contain elements of truth, but they keep us stuck in a victim mentality. When we blame external factors, we give away our power. We become reactive rather than proactive, waiting for someone or something else to fix our problems. Taking responsibility means shifting our focus to what we can control. It means asking ourselves, what can I do to improve this situation? Or what choices can I make to create a better outcome? This might involve setting boundaries, communicating our needs more effectively, or developing a plan. It might also involve making difficult decisions, such as leaving a toxic relationship, changing careers, or moving to a new city. Taking responsibility does not mean that we are at fault for everything that happens. It simply means that we are in charge of our responses. We can choose to wallow in self-pity, blame others, and remain stuck in our misery. Or we can choose to learn from our experiences, find solutions, and move forward. Many people hesitate to take responsibility because they believe that to be responsible for our problems is to also be at fault for our problems. While we are often responsible for the consequences of our choices, there are situations where we're responsible for dealing with problems that are not our fault. For example, imagine you get laid off from your job due to company downsizing. While it's not your fault that the company made this decision, you are still responsible for dealing with the consequences. This might involve updating your resume, networking, and finding a new job. Or consider a parent who has a child with a disability. While the parent is not at fault for their child's disability, they are still responsible for providing care and support for their child. In both of these examples, the individuals are not to blame for the situation, but they are still responsible for choosing how they will respond. They can choose to become overwhelmed by the challenge, feel sorry for themselves, or blame others. Or they can choose to accept the situation, focus on what they can control, and find solutions. The key distinction is between fault and responsibility. Fault implies blame, whereas responsibility implies ownership. When we take responsibility for our lives, we empower ourselves to make choices, find solutions, and create a better future regardless of our circumstances. One of the most common mistakes people make in relationships is blurring the lines of responsibility. They either take on too much responsibility for their partner's happiness or expect their partner to be responsible for their own. For instance, someone with a savior complex might constantly try to fix their partner's problems, offer unsolicited advice, or make decisions for them. While their intentions might be good, this behavior can stifle their partner's growth and create dependence. On the other hand, someone with a victim mentality might blame their partner for their unhappiness, expect their partner to meet all their needs, or refuse to take responsibility for their emotions and actions. Both of these patterns lead to unhealthy relationships because they create an imbalance of power and prevent both individuals from taking ownership of their lives. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, trust, and clear boundaries. Each person is responsible for their own happiness, well-being, and personal growth, while also supporting their partner. Setting boundaries means communicating our limits and expectations, and being willing to say no to requests or behaviors that we are not comfortable with. This might involve saying no to excessive demands on our time or energy, refusing to engage in arguments that are disrespectful, or setting limits on how much emotional labor we are willing to provide. Saying no is not selfish. It's an act of self-respect and an essential part of maintaining healthy relationships. When we set boundaries, we are teaching others how to treat us and creating space for both ourselves and our partners to grow as individuals. Healthy relationships are not about finding someone to complete us or fix our problems. They're about choosing to share our lives with someone who respects our boundaries, supports our growth, and adds value to our journey. Trust is an essential ingredient in any healthy relationship, whether it's a romantic partnership, a friendship, or a professional collaboration. It's the foundation upon which we build intimacy, vulnerability, and mutual support. When trust is broken, it can be incredibly difficult to repair. It can create feelings of betrayal, hurt, anger, and resentment. It can also lead to a loss of confidence in ourselves and our ability to judge character. While it's easy to blame the person who broke our trust, it's also important to remember that we have a choice in how we respond to this situation. We can choose to dwell on the betrayal, harbor resentment, and allow the experience to poison future relationships. Or we can choose to learn from the experience, set healthier boundaries, and move forward with greater self-awareness. If we decide to try to rebuild trust with the person who broke it, there are a few key steps that are essential for the process to be successful. First, the person who broke the trust needs to acknowledge their actions and take full responsibility for the consequences. This involves admitting their wrongdoing without making excuses or blaming others. Second, they need to demonstrate genuine remorse and a willingness to change their behavior. This might involve apologizing sincerely, seeking therapy, or making amends for the harm they caused. Third, they need to rebuild trust through consistent actions over time. This involves being reliable, keeping promises, and demonstrating that they can be trusted again. It's important to remember that rebuilding trust takes time and effort from both parties involved. It requires open communication, patience, and a willingness to work through the hurt and anger. It's also important to recognize that forgiveness does not mean condoning the behavior. It means choosing to let go of the resentment and pain and moving forward with a renewed sense of hope. Whether or not we decide to forgive the person who broke our trust is a personal decision. There is no right or wrong answer. However, regardless of our decision, it's essential to learn from the experience, set healthier boundaries, and take steps to protect ourselves from future betrayals. The most important takeaway is this: you get to decide what matters to you. Don't let society dictate your values or define your worth. Learn to accept your limitations. Choose your struggles wisely. Remember that true happiness comes from solving problems, not avoiding them. The journey of personal growth is ongoing. It's filled with twists, turns, challenges, and triumphs. It's in this messy and imperfect process of becoming that we discover our true selves, our purpose, and the richness of a life well lived.
Thank you so much for taking the time to invest in yourself today. Remember, every small step you take brings you closer to becoming the best version of you. If this video inspired you or gave you something to think about, don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps the channel grow and reach more people like you. And if you want to keep growing, learning, and unlocking your full potential, be sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next video. Together, we're on this journey of self-discovery and empowerment. Until next time, remember, you have the power within you to create the life you deserve. See you soon.
Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful or inspiring, you'll definitely want to check out some of our other videos. We've got plenty more tips, ideas, and motivation waiting for you. Just click on one of the videos here and keep the positive energy flowing.